Ethan was 18 and felt like everything in his life revolved around him. He believed that everything should be for him, and every decision should be made according to his wishes. He thought of his family, especially his mother and father, as constant obstacles in his quest for freedom. They always wanted him to study, help with chores, and act more responsibly. But Ethan saw them as restrictions on his dreams and desires. He longed for independence, for a life where no one told him what to do. One day, the argument grew so intense that Ethan made a decision. Enough, he thought. I want to live my own life. You've always interfered with me, always controlled me. Early one morning, he left the house without saying anything. His family was left behind, unaware of his departure. Ethan moved to the city. He rented his own apartment, made new friends, and took his first steps toward independence. At first, everything was perfect. He felt so free that each morning, when he woke up, he believed that life was all his, that everyone had their own path to walk. But as time went by, he realized that life was not as simple as it seemed. At first, loneliness didn't affect him much. But over time, loneliness began to follow him like a shadow. When he came home at night, the emptiness of his apartment and the silence started to suffocate him. Despite being surrounded by people, laughing and hanging out with friends, he couldn't feel the emptiness inside. The more people he met, the more distant and shallow those relationships felt. He realized that creating a real bond, a meaningful connection, was much harder than he had thought. One evening, after a tiring job interview, he received a message from his mother.
How are you? We miss you so much. We're so proud of you.
In that moment, something shifted in Ethan. He remembered his mother's voice, his father's stern but loving look. The realization hit him. They've always been there for me, and I never even saw it. A week later, he received unexpected news. Dad has been hospitalized. Ethan rushed to the hospital, but by the time he arrived, his father had already passed away. The shock of losing his father hit him hard. He had never gotten the chance to say goodbye, to have one last conversation. In that moment, Ethan understood something he hadn't before. His family had been the most important thing in his life, and he had taken them for granted. His father, with all his tough love, and his mother, who always worried and cared for him, were now gone. The realization came too late. Now, Ethan lived in his small apartment, alone with his regrets. The friends he had made couldn't fill the void inside him. Every day, he thought about how much time he had wasted, how many chances he had missed to show his family that he loved them, to be with them. If only he had spent more time with them. If only he had valued them more. If only he had said, "I love you," once more. But it was too late. He had learned that family is the most precious thing, something you should never take for granted. But by the time he realized this, it was already gone.